Good evening. Today is the 5th day of March 2017 and our 6th interview with our beloved Shyam Kumari. Namaste.
Namaste. Nara, today mostly I will talk about our great friend Parichanda, yours and mine,
Yes.
both. We were very close to him.
Yes.
And these things are so beautiful and universal, and they are based on his talk in the school. He gave a talk, and he told me also these things. So there is no ambiguity about
Yes.
them.
And I have read his many questions to Mother.
That I have not read.
Oh, that's very
Oh,
interesting.
they came in bulletin?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Yes. I remember now. So, first thing,
Yeah.
you remember last time we talked about how Mother said, now I will have to go to France after Sri Avindo's passing, and Dyuman brought all these
Yes.
Nalini, Pavitra, etc., and
Yes.
they all prostrated before her.
Right.
And there was no talk about going to France anymore. But there is very interesting sidelight. For 12 days, from 6th December to 17th December, Mother didn't come out of her room. Then on 17th December, she distributed photographs of Samadhi to everyone. Now, we would imagine that human beings, that she was prostrate or grieving, nothing like that. She even gave that famous interview to Rhoda Lecoq, because Rhoda was about to leave and she asked for an interview. And Mother, in her gracious love for her children, granted it. But then Pranabda told me that when Mother came from Sri Avindo's room, and Pranav was sleeping in her room on the carpet as usual, she woke him up and said, now you have to stand by my side. Only this sentence. So Pranav told me that something in myself told me that I must not leave her alone even for a moment. So when Mother went to the bathroom, he would run to his room and do this, take bath, etc., and hurry back to her. She later on said that if you had not done that, I would have left my body. But there is something very interesting which is not generally known, which Pranabda told me. That he had many questions about education. And in those 12 days, he put all those questions to Mother, and Mother answered them, which is the 12th volume on education.
Oh, I didn't know that also.
Not Pranav himself told me. Pranav was very reticent about things. He knew more than anyone else about the Mother. So this was this. This I had not told you. I am to tell you now that after the Mahasamadhi of Sri Aurobindo, the Mother said to Dyuman, I suppose I will have to return to France now. She was not certain that how the devotees will react. Dyuman replied, no, Mother. He went and brought Nalini, Amrita, Udar, Pavitra, etc. They all prostrated at her feet, and the subject of return to France was never mentioned again. So these two things in that context of Sri Avindo's leaving his body last time we talked. Then about our great friend Parijan. In 1934, Parijan, he had a master's degree from Calcutta University, a great man, and he knew several languages. Mastery of everything he did. And such was his tapasya that you young people cannot imagine. His purse was always full of notes, quite fat purse, because he has to give wages to laborers every day. Many laborers come work on daily wages. He was the head gardener of the ashram. Such a highly educated man. But in his whole life, Narad, he didn't spend a single paisa on himself. And as I mentioned before, I will mention in passing about him, that we in the ashram, we get one pair of chappals every year, and which we can get repaired 360 days, 360 times, but only one pair of chappals. And Parichan and Bula didn't take that chappal. So after darshan, when thousands went away, some left their shoes, chappals behind, because some get lost, mixed up. So Bulada and Parichan would take something approximation to their size and use that. They didn't take even that one chappal. And Parichan, many times his chappals made lots of noise because they were loose. And I pointed it out that it is not safe even to wear loose chappals, and he was walking miles and miles in his work. But such was their great tapasya. He joined the ashram in 1934. And two of these stories will throw such a stupendous light on the mother that it's hard to believe. One story shows us how she is all the universe. So when Parichan came to know about Sri Aurobindo 10 days after his marriage, he says, had I known about him earlier, I would not have married.
Yes, I remember.
So he was in contact with Sri Aurobindo since 24. And after 10 years in 1934, he joined the ashram. So when first time after joining the ashram, he went to the mother, he was wondering what would mother remember, there was constant correspondence with Sri Aurobindo. So what to tell her, how much she remembers. And mother could read like an open book each thought of us. So when and Parichan was wondering whether she remembered what he had written in his letters in the preceding 10 years to Sri Aurobindo, and the answers Sri Aurobindo and herself had written. So mother read his question, and to reveal her omniscience and to clear forever all his doubts, before he could say anything, she recounted from letter number 1 to the last letter. You wrote this to Sri Aurobindo in your first letter, and he answered this. Then on such and such date you wrote this, and he answered. So for us it is an eye-opener. We forget her universality all the time. We remember her as our dear mother. But her this universal aspect, out of hundreds or thousands even to whom Sri Aurobindo was writing, and she was answering also, she remembered every word Parichan has written, and every word they had answered for 10 years chronologically, she told him. Then for me, the story I am going to tell you is the greatest story I know. Out of the 500 people I have interviewed and written about, this is the greatest story. See, in those days, mother used to give prosperity distribution. Do you know what is that? Yes. So she used to distribute prosperity in the afternoon, say about 2 or 3 p.m.
I used to join. I received prosperity from mother.
Huh?
Oh, yes.
Wonderful. You are lucky. So, what happened? When you received, she was not going to library house. Library house is the building.
Upstairs on terrace.
Huh?
With the stained glass windows, there she would sit.
Anyway, I don't remember the place you are mentioning. So she used to come to the building just opposite the ashram main gate. It is called the library house because they brought lots of books when they shifted Sri Aurobindo and the disciples from the guest house. On that, where prosperity is distributed even now. Same. But she went there. Now you just visualize the ashram building. We have Samadhi now. On the western side, there is a staircase near the Samadhi where people sit, and from there we go to Ghanshyam, or what is his name, to get passes for Sri Aurobindo's room on our birthday. Janardhan. So that room, then there are 4 steps and big room where there is this stamp department now.
Yes, when Noran Singh was there.
Was there, exactly. So mother would come to that terrace, enter there, go to distribute prosperity.
That's where I saw her.
You saw.
That's where I went, yes.
But how she reached there, she came through Pavitra's room on the northern side of the ashram. There is, you remember Nirodha's room? There is a long corridor.
Yes, yes.
Please, this is very important to understand, and this is the greatest story, I repeat again. From there, that corridor, northern corridor, then we come to the room where now, when we come down from mother's room, there mother's old bed is there, Sri Aurobindo's chair is there.
Yes.
Below is Dyuman's room.
Yes.
And then there is a small terrace. Now it is covered with the branches of service tree.
Yeah.
Previously, service tree had not extended. I am talking of mother's lifetime, that is 73 to now it's more than 50 years back. So that terrace was empty, not covered by the branches. Now imagine this scene. Mother loved roses. I can't find adjectives. Rose was her favorite flower probably. And in those days, the climate of Pondicherry was so hot that it was a miracle if you could grow a tiny rose. Such was the position that if by chance from Uti or Kodai Canal some bunch of roses came to the market and any disciple saw them, he would buy and run to the ashram so that they could be sent to the mother as soon as possible. Now there are roses and roses in Pondicherry, big roses, small roses, red roses, golden roses. You can buy all types and they grow here in our garden. So that particular day, Parichand, it was prosperity day. Mother was to come to distribute prosperity. So he had 2 or 3 tiny rose flowers. So he had put 3 or 4 rose plants in pots on that terrace on the western side of Samadhi near Janardhan's room and leading to Pavitra's room. One person was to go for an interview to the mother in the evening. And everyone knew that mother loves roses. And he requested Parichand, kindly give me 1 rose to offer to the mother. So Parichand replied that, see, you wait. When after distribution mother will pass, she will glance at them. And when she goes away, I will cut a flower and give to you to offer to her. All right. So it was quite hot, 2 or 3 p.m. And mother came, she looked at nothing escaped her. Behind, above, far, near, she could see everything on the North Pole or South Pole. So she glanced at those flowers nurtured so lovingly by Parichand, and then entered Pavitra's room, then turned into the corridor above Nirodha's room. Now see the sequence of event. Parichand, when she had passed and entered Pavitra's room, Parichanda went up that western stairs, 5-10 steps, and he always carried his tools of trade, scissors, etc. in his pocket, and his pockets became long because of the weight. They were hanging below his kurta sometimes. So he took out the scissors, went up, because mother never encouraged plucking like that the flowers. She said they suffer very much. You should always cut them. Just like that we pluck. No, they suffer very much. So he spread out his scissors to cut that one particular flower which was the best for mother. Now you see, from that floor to where mother was in the corridor above Nirodha's room, there are walls and elevation is higher. There is no way she could have seen, and her back was towards that, the western terrace. And she was followed by Nalini, Amrit and Pavitra. They were walking a little distance behind her. She started running. They were so astounded. Nalini, Pavitra, Amrit, they had never seen mother running except during tennis maybe. And she ran like lightning. This is my adjective, I was not there, but she ran through that room, above Dyuman's room, and reached that open terrace. And as the scissor was about to cut, she shouted across the ashram, "Don't cut, don't cut." And in time, the scissors stopped. And Parichand turned and saw the mother standing and shouting. Then later on, and Nalini, Amrita, Pavitra, everyone was taken aback. Then mother explained that the soul of the flower came to me, "Mother, save me, because you were going to cut at midday, the hot sun. They suffer very much if you cut them during the hot hours. Always cut flowers or morning or evening." So even how this universal time works, you yourself work out that his hand extends, this flower knows that mother can save me, his soul goes to the mother, or mother's soul is always there everywhere, and he tells that mother, "I don't know." But this is the greatest story which can tell you the universality of the mother. In all these stories I have done thousands of them in 500 people's interview. This I find the greatest story.
Parichand once shared with me an experience, because he did the whole courtyard with flowers. He is the only man I saw who grew 12-inch dahlia, pure white, super
You have never met me before. My dahlia was 16 inches. That's how I became friendly with him. I grew sunflowers this big. On one plant, 20. Sorry, we are not here to talk. But to grow 12 inches dahlia, and if it is white, it's nobility. And then in Pondicherry is a feat in itself.
It is.
Because where I grew dahlias, so bloody big, that is cold. North India is cold.
North India, yes.
He grew them in the hottest season.
He told me one day that there was a flower in the courtyard, and it was pretty much almost finished. And he went to pull it out. And Mother saw him and she said, "Murderer."
This I never knew.
And he said, "I learned then, don't take the flower till it's finished."
In this context, another thing I remembered Parichan told me, her compassion and vastness of love. She had instructed, you see, bullocks, he had bullock cart for the garden work. So mother had instructed him that the bullocks, after they are unable to pull the carts, they don't live more than 1 or 2 years. So if you remember, near his door, on the right side, there used to be a bullock several times.
Yes.
So the mother said, just tie them, give them food, and in a year or 2, they will die. She didn't allow them to be butchered or abandoned. Her compassion was for everyone and everything. So in this context, with the birds and flowers, I will tell 2 or 3 more stories of Parichan. You know our prosperity house. Outside there are some croton bushes. And crotons grow very slowly. Even now they are that high, then they were this much. So on a croton bush, a bulbul had made a nest and she laid 3 eggs. Parichan being in charge, he knew and he saw. You remember Mridu? Sri Aurobindo's cook who used to threaten, "I will commit suicide if you don't eat my luchis today. Why didn't you eat?" So she was a very quarrelsome lady. Mind you, I bow to her because Sri Aurobindo has said, mother has said she is in supermind with Sri Aurobindo now. This lady who used to quarrel, threaten Sri Aurobindo. And funny thing, one day she was so uncontrolled that mother tied a rope around her waist and with that led her to Sri Aurobindo's room like an animal. And now she is in supermind. So this lady was after Parichan. Give me 1 egg, give me 1 egg. She wanted it to grow. I don't know why. So to get rid of her, because it was not easy to come out of the clutches of Mridu. So to get rid of her, Parichan gave her one of the tiny eggs of bulbul. And what was it? Who lived opposite the Samadhi, the Gujarati sadhak, Pujalal. Pujalal ji, excuse me now, my brain is forgetting names. Pujalal ji reported it to the mother. Mother was furious. She scolded Parichan so much. How could you do it? They were under my protection. Wow, how could you? Poor Parichan, he said, "Mother, may I bring it back and put it back?" Then mother said, "No." Then she became calm and she said, "Now the mother will not accept the egg." But in future, she was living, they were under my direct protection. In this context, 2 or 3 stories are there. One day mother asked somebody to go to one of the gardens. She said, "Something is wrong there. The souls of the banana trees have come out crying to me." So the sadhak went there. What he found, that the gardener had told a laborer whom he had hired that come tomorrow morning, you cut the trees which have given fruit. Banana once eat fruits only one time. So then they are cut. This ignorant laborer was cutting the trees who have not yet borne fruit. And their souls came to the mother, and mother sent somebody, and he stopped the laborer from cutting those banana trees. And of course, you all know the banyan tree story in Rakhalda.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That's no need to tell. No. And mother, Parichan himself told me, he must have told you, mother had a favorite squirrel, a favorite crow.
Yes.
Everyone knows that. But squirrel story, should I tell?
You can tell, yes.
Squirrel, it came and ate out of the mother's hand. Then the population of squirrels increased so much that they were entering the rooms and overturning the flower vases and doing havoc, as squirrels can do, nibbling at curtains and things. So Parichanda and Jyotinda of the flower room, mother called them and said that you must trap them. Then be careful, my squirrel is not there. First you trap 2 or some, I don't remember exactly, and show them to me. So they took them, the first squirrels, to the mother. Mother's squirrel was not in them. Then mother said, you take them to the botanical garden, release them and hide behind trees and see what they do. So the first 2 or 3 squirrels they took, opened the trap and went and hid behind some tree trunks. After some time, the squirrels looked here and there, and then they climbed those stately trees. And then they came and reported to the mother, and mother said, they are happy. So they went on trapping, but in spite of their best efforts, even mother's squirrel, either it went away or it was trapped. And though every squirrel was shown to the mother. In this context, you know the story of cats. Everyone knows that. Sri Aurobindo had to boil fish for them. This you didn't know. Mother gave some work for everyone, physical work, and even to Sri Aurobindo. And the work of Sri Aurobindo was to boil fish for mother's cats and take out the inside, that is we call kanta, this thorn or bone.
Bones.
Bone. This is the work she gave to Sri Aurobindo. So this is how she cared for plants and animals. And mother's lizard, do you know? Mother had a favorite lizard. She lived under the top of the table on mother's room, on which mother ate her sparse meals. Mother ate very little. I have the good luck of washing the glasses. From Japan, somebody has offered delicate glasses. Will you believe they were as big as this thumb? This size. Out of that, mother drank juice. She ate very little. And with her ate Udar and Gauri and Pranav. So this squirrel came. She became the same color as the mahogany table. With time, she changed her color to the table's color. So mother she would come out at lunchtime. Mother fed her tiny.
This is lizard.
Huh?
Lizard.
Huh?
Yeah.
Lizard. I said something else.
I thought you said squirrel, but...
No, squirrel story is finished. Yeah. This is mother's lizard.
The lizard, right.
But I used to wonder how she would change her color. But then, this is personal, but it's small. They do. I was in Jipmer for a month and the bathroom doors were yellow. I saw that the cockroaches, they had turned yellow. Cockroaches are generally brown or reddish or whatsoever. They had turned yellow there. So for safety, so they blend with that color. So mother's lizard became same color as her mahogany table. And mother's crow, one day or two days, when she came on the same terrace, when from there she shouted, "Don't cut." Mother's crow used to come there, and Chinmay would give a biscuit to the mother, and she would give it to the crow. And one day she gave Nalini a biscuit. you give to the crow. So the crow took the biscuit, but put it aside, he didn't eat. So mother said, Nalini, he is a gentleman. He took the biscuit, but he will eat only when I give. Her rapport. In this connection, have I told you the story about the... No, that's a fantastic story. You see, during Second World War, Pondicherry was a French enclave. We were not free. And grain coming from British India, there were greater and greater restrictions. Lakhs and lakhs died in Russia and England, starved because all the food was being sent to for the troops. So there was great difficulty getting grain for ashram bread. We don't grow wheat here, na? It has to be brought from outside. So one day, only one bag of wheat was left in our godown. You know, it's near marbling department, I think somewhere. Then the person in charge, I forget his name again, he reported it to the mother. Then mother said, see, generally I don't do the such things. She meant miracle. But now I will have to do something. But there is one condition. Only you will take out grain from the store. No one else will enter. That there must be some room where the bags are kept. So every day, his name will come in a minute or two, he would go out and bring grain from that one bag for ashram's daily use. Till Udar managed to get grain. And that too, mother said, you have to put it yourself. Don't allow the laborers. So you see, from one bag, hundreds of ashramites was fed for quite a few days. And let me see what I wanted to tell you. Because I decide to tell one story, then I remember 5 other stories of her Leela, divine Leela. Now, in this is about Parijan, that in the integral yoga of Sri Aurobindo, what's correct and what's wrong, it's very difficult to decide. Parijan told me that from my childhood I was very self-centered. So when here, he tried to atone for this. So a sadhak lived above his room and he fell ill. In those days, nobody talked with others or went to their rooms without asking mother's permission. The woman had told me that if somebody knocked because he had to deal with hundreds, they will knock, I will open this much and answer. And now we walk in everybody's house and all that. So he went and nursed him for a day or two, this fellow sadhak. Then something in him became, uneasy. He felt first I should ask mother's permission, whether I should nurse him or not. So he wrote everything to the mother. And mother said it was a wrong moment. Your duty was to inform me that he is ill. Then I would have arranged for his welfare or whatsoever, for his care or nursing. It was a wrong moment. So even such a simple and innocent and generous looking thing in the ashram can be wrong. What we say, altruistic or fellow feeling, the same way. Another very illuminating highlight about Parichanda. He used to go to garden at 4 o'clock and whole day there some work went on. Then in the evening for 1 hour there was march past and exercises. So he wrote to the mother, after all these exercises, work is absolutely necessary, but the group exercises, after that I get so tired I can't even read Savitri. So mother, can I skip this so that I can concentrate on reading Savitri? Mother said, you read Savitri or no Savitri, but you must not leave your exercise. She gave so much importance. Now I understand it from my own experience. I have wrecked my body by overworking all these 500 interviews and schoolwork. It was, if I had continued, some people here, there was one Dikshit ji. He worked in Vaidyak department. He used to exercise even up to 93, 94, I have seen in the playground. In one corner he would exercise, not with the whole marching group, but like that. So then if you do regularly, that's why mother plays such an important. Then about the sincerity of sadhaks like Parichanda. In those days, ashram had great financial difficulties. So Parichand would eat sparingly. And one day he fainted. Then mother, he was in, luckily, twice it happened. Towards the end, when he fainted in his room, that's another story altogether. At that time, Sumant, his nephew, came to him. And from the windows which opened on the road, he peeped in, Uncle Kaku, and saw him lying on the ground. Then they forced open the door and took him to nursing home. How mother sent exactly at the same time. But this is much earlier when he came, 34, so maybe late 30s. So he ate so little. And in Jains and in North India, the tradition of austerity and fasting is so much ingrained in our nature. I also did that stupidity, didn't eat enough. Not enough taste, but enough to fill the belly. And he would eat sparingly, so one day he fainted. Then mother called him and asked him, what was your diet at home? And when she heard what they ate at home, then she sanctioned him 3 extra cup of milk. With each meal, instead of 1 cup or 1 measure of what we get, he used to get 2 throughout his life. Mother, for every detail she saw. Then a service tree, he can tell you 100 things, but once it so happened, it's Narad's special tree, service tree. So the branches, where they distribute incense, that corner, mother's boiler room.
Yes.
So branches on that side came so low that people found it difficult to pass under them, and sometimes they got into the eyes, etc. So till then, no branch of service tree was ever pruned. Then Parichand asked mother's permission to prune them a little. Mother said, no, it's good. The sadhak should learn how to bend.
How to bow.
Bow.
How to bow.
Bow.
Yes.
I remember
He told me that, yes.
He told you that. And
they
about
must learn
that,
how to bow.
About that, you see, from the garage gate, they brought in fruits for the ashramites, which are stored on the first floor. Fruit room. So to bring the cart to the fruit room One day Parichanda went to the ashram and he saw they were digging the roots of service tree which have come out. And mother said people should not step them because now they are like the arms of the tree, the roots which are jutting out near the... So they were cutting. So Parichanda rushed and at once informed the mother. And mother said, stop at once. Stop at once. And then there was a way found on the western side. They opened a window and through that the fruit was passed in. It's a simple solution. But this service tree once in a storm, one branch broke down. The first time the branch broke down. Then mother said, even if a room of my ashram had broken,
Yes.
I would not have felt so bad. And she also said, the consciousness in the ashram has gone down so low, otherwise it would not have happened. It could not have happened, something like... See, when I quote mother's word, these we have heard. And the memory, I remember they should know how to bend. But Parichan told him how to bow. So when we talk about mother's words, which were pronounced in a conversation, there can be always some variations of words, adjectives. And truly speaking, mother said that even if you change the place of one word, what I have said, the whole sense changes. That's why she asked Nalini, who used to take notes of mother's talks, and the notes mother used to correct herself. Still they were published. She said to Nalini, you publish under your name, with all this in the preface, Yoga of Sri Aurobindo, 7 parts. So this I beg mother's pardon and everyone, but this sense is intact, bow or bend.
When the first branch broke, the big branch, I was there.
Ajay.
And I noticed that the boys, Mona and others, were cutting the stump from the top. And since I had learned from my father that you never do that,
Why?
because the weight of the stump would tear the bark all the way down, and the tree could die. And I said to Parichand, I know how to cut. May I go up and help them? So he sent me up to help them. We cut 1/3 from the bottom and then 2/3 from the top, absolutely clean cut. And you see how it healed.
But
At that
please
moment,
explain that
okay.
this way bark didn't come out.
No, because when you cut from this side underneath,
The
it
bark.
can't tear anymore.
Yes, now I understand.
Now what happened was that we finished the work. I came down from the tree, and Parichand comes running from mother's room.
He was there. He was in mother's room watching the pruning.
She gave him the blessing packet for me to care for the tree for the rest of my life. And he gave it to me.
So,
my wonderful memory of Parichand. Well, we've had quite an evening. Shall we continue the next time we meet?
I have not.
We've gone almost 45 minutes already.
It seems like 5 minutes.
I know.
So we stop here at the service tree with one last beautiful thing about this. Mother said all the great souls, saints and sages and authors, they live on this tree. And when I need them, I call them from my window. Namaste.
I'll tell one last story
Do.
about a friend in France whose grandmother was a very, very spiritual lady. She said to her grandmother, "Will you give me a sign when you leave?" She is walking on the Champs-Élysées one day, and there in the sky is her grandmother. And her grandmother says goodbye to her and goes into the service tree.
Oh, she came to the
came
service.
to the service tree.
Must be great soul.
Yeah.
Because only great souls can live in service tree. A mother said they live.
Yeah.
Not everyone lives.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you.